We're now going to look at inline graphics, which are embedded in a text frame. So if we choose the spread pages 5 to 7 and choose View Fit Spread in Window, if we click on the Orchard of Kings logo, which is on the pasteboard below the middle of the bottom spread, below page 6, choose Edit, Cut, and now zoom into where we're going to paste it. So we'll zoom to 150%, and view Fit Page in Window. Go back to page 6, make sure we're optimized in our view. Choose Edit, Paste, and it'll paste into that text frame where the cursor was located after the first paragraph. Note that the text flows to make space for the graphic. If we go to the paragraph options in the control bar at the top of the screen and add space before that graphic to 0 pica 4 point, and now click on the graphic with the selection tool. If we hold down Shift and Command, we can resize that graphic in proportion so it maintains its aspect ratio. So we drag it about a quarter of the way into the right hand paragraph. We'll see that the graphic is now underneath some of that text. If we choose Window, Text Wrap, and then choose Wrap Around Object Shape, the text will now flow around the outline of that graphic. To increase the distance between the graphic and the text, we can increase the top offset to 1 pica 0 point. If we click on the pasteboard just to deselect everything, now go back to the graphic and from the swatches palette choose a fill of none. We can now go back to the text wrap dialog and choose Detect Edges from the Type options menu. And now the text flows in a more pleasing irregular shape around the right hand edge of that logo. Now we can choose Type Hide and Hidden Characters to see the effect of those changes. Now from the Wrap To menu we can also try the both right and left sides option and the largest area option to see which of those suits our purpose, and then close that dialog. If we go to the Layers palette and select the Graphics layer, check that nothing is selected by going to the Edit menu and deselect all if anything is selected. Then go to the File menu and choose Place. And we should go back to the Lesson 8 folder and choose 08_.ai, an Adobe Illustrator file. Make sure that Show Import Options is not selected and click Open. The cursor will now be loaded with that graphic. Go to the top of page 5 position the cursor somewhere near the top left and click. With the selection tool we can position the graphic just right and above the light blue box. If you choose View Fit Spread in Window, we can see the extent of that graphic across the 3 pages. If we click on the white pasteboard to deselect anything that is selected in our file, we can choose File, Place, and click on Show Import Options and choose 08_n.pdf. If we click Open, we get a PDF dialog box. And in the Crop To menu, choose Bounding Box and make sure that Transparent Background is selected. If we go to the layers, we've got 3 layers in this document: the Spanish title, English title and another layer. Instead of choosing which layers we want to use now, we can click OK and make that choice from within InDesign. So with that graphic loaded, we position it to the left of the blue box in page 5 so that we can click and it will position itself on the page. With the selection tool we can move this graphic now over the large blue box on the same page. With the object still selected, choose Object, Object Layer Options, and we can see the layers of that Illustrator file. If we click Preview, we can now decide which layers to show. So we turn off the English title and turn on Spanish title and click OK. Now if we go to the bottom of the window, we can navigate to page 5 by typing it into the page number area and choose File, Open. We're going to open up an InDesign graphics library. So we choose 08_K and click Open. Now we can make this window a little bit bigger and we can see what is included in this library. If we click on the binoculars and do a search for tree and click OK, we can see the 2 tree images that are in this library. If we choose tree.psd and drag that to the pasteboard of our document, we can see that it displays in a grey box. If we go to the links palette and choose the relink option at the bottom of the links panel, we can find the original graphic and click on relink all instances of tree.psd to ensure that we are displaying the current version of that image. We can now close that library file. Now if we choose File, New, Library, we can create our own library. So if we enter a name cd space projects.indl and save this in a suitable place, in this case my documents folder, and choose Save, we'll now have an empty library which we can add our own graphics and other material. So if we go to page 3 and choose the Rookie Records logo, we can drag that into the Open Library window. If we double click that logo, we can enter a name for that logo. We're going to call it Logo, and click OK. Now we can also use the text box, the text block which is underneath the Ricky Records label. So if we drag that into the library window, double click it and name it address and click OK, we can have that text available for use as and when we need it. Now if we click the Go to Bridge icon at the top of the window, in Bridge we can rename files if we like, but in this case we're going to just click on the leaf image which is called 08_0.psd, resize the Bridge window so that we can see the InDesign window underneath. Alter the display so we can see that leaf graphic 08_0 and drag it to our InDesign document. So we can drag and drop from Bridge. If we now click on the InDesign window, we can drag that leaf graphic to where we want it in our design. So we're going to position it on page 4. So if we drag the leaf across to page 4 and position it on the bluey purple box at the top of the page above the clasped hands. If we now close the Pages palette, click on the pasteboard to deselect and go to the Links palette and choose 08_j.psd and go to that link. If we now go over that graphic and right click, and from the drop down menu we can choose Graphics Reveal in Bridge. That will show us that graphic within Bridge. If we now click back on InDesign, on the InDesign window, we can choose File, Save, click on the pasteboard, choose Preview and then View, Fit Spread in Window, and that concludes Lesson 8, Importing and Linking Graphics in InDesign CS3.